Hello, everyone, and welcome to another session where we discuss and interview the contributors of Cold Canadian Crime, published by Crime Writers of Canada. My name is Eric D'Souza, and joining me today is Lisa de Nikolits. All Lit Up hails Lisa as the queen of Canadian speculative fiction. On her website, lisawriter.com, your tagline is a twist of neo-noir. It's one of those sayings that I wish I thought up first, but I was wondering, just so that everybody's on the same page, may I ask, what is neo-noir?
I think I always struggle to define my own books, Eric, and I think other people also struggle to define my own books, and I kind of got really tired of, cross genre and genre bending. And a lot of my work is noir, but it's not classic noir, clearly. And so I came up with the phrase neo noir because I wouldn't really sort of classify myself as being a speculative fiction writer per se. I write a lot of stuff, and the main thread is that it's all really noir with a twist. So that was probably the best way I could find to describe my work.
Would you describe your work Somewhere Near Sudbury from Cold Canadian Crime as that?
Do you know, I would almost say that that's leaning towards cozy, but it does have a really strong level of noir in it. It's sort of couched in that very sort of happy-go-lucky, and I think that's what I really love about the protagonist, is that she's so cheerful and suburban and kind of normal, and then she has this massive secret in her past. And when actually a few of the people was the story was being moderated for acceptance, they gave me feedback about what the readers had said, and one of the women said, or I think it was the woman, like, what my character had done was quite unacceptable, and she really struggled with it. But to my mind, ostensibly nice normal people out there in the world have done very, very bad things. And so, when I was working on the edits of the story with Taya Morgan, and I said to her, do you feel like what she did was, too bad? And she said, no, I love the juxtaposition of her past and then her cheerful cereal eating present. So she felt like that was a really good twist. So I was glad, because it was a bit of a old thing. So I'd say cozy noir. I don't know if that's a thing.
It's cozy up to a certain point, and then it
It's
I
very
think
noir.
um, this is sort of a silly question, but I had to ask it just because the pets in the story have such unique names. Um, where did you come up with that? I mean, in some ways, it tells you a lot about her character and her life, but at the same time, it's like, wow, that's a unique name to give your pets.
Snoodles and Popsicle, and yeah, Snoodles is the French, the French poodle, and Popsicle is the cat. And I don't know where the names came from, but I really wanted the names to fit her. And so I spent a lot of time coming up with those names. I was like, well, what would her dog and cat be called? And so one day I might actually have to get a dog and call it Snoodles, or get another cat and call it Popsicle, because I think they're really cool names. And yeah, I don't know where they came from, but they did. I did hunt for them. They weren't immediately apparent. So thank you for appreciating them.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you because it really tells us a lot, the reader, a lot about the character when uh, you name your pets that. It's like the way I thought of it was she probably let her kids name the pets, and maybe was just like, really, Snoodles? But that makes
Yeah,
her a good mom, right?
that makes her a good mom. Exactly, exactly.
Your most recent book, Everything You Dream Is Real, is on
Yeah.
pre-sale right now, and it has it's appeared on a few prominent reading lists, including All Lit Up, Quill Quire, and the CBC's 65 works of Canadian fiction to watch for this fall. I also read a blurb on your website from Lynn Crosby saying that it was witty, elegant, dorky, and weird. I'd be pretty flattered if somebody called my work witty and elegant. I think I could live with weird. But how do you feel about your work being called dorky?
I think it's so perfect because you see, that's again the thing with me. And I was listening into your chat you had, it was a really good thing with CSO Canada, and how she remarked about how she decided like her books, weren't doing as well as she wanted. So she decided she was going to write genre, and off she went and managed that. And wow, I take my hat off to her, because I've tried to write straight genre, and to be honest, I just can't do it. My stuff is weird and dorky and sort of speculative and somewhat noir. And I think that the comment from Lynn Crosby, who I've always admired, she's one of my favorite Canadian authors, ever. And so when she wrote that, I wrote back to her and I said I might just have that inscribed on my gravestone, like, here lies Lisa de Nikolits, and Lynn Crosby said this. So, I think I said to her, Lynn, it's probably going to be a bit of a long, a long inscription for a gravestone, but that's how happy it made me. So yeah, I think dorky is correct, because it's so crazy, Eric. It really is. Branches off into areas that people can't fathom, but there's this underlying dorkiness to it, and I was really happy that she tapped in on that, because it's a quintessential part of the book. A lot of it is set in the 80s and 90s, right? And so there was kind of that throwback to, like, the Breakfast Club and stuff like that. So it captures that kind of the 80s dorkiness, and I was a dork. I, what can I say?
Um, Sorry, this is a follow-up question, and it's not a really good one because I can't remember the name of your book, but I read that this one could be considered a follow-up to Smash Room,
The
or is it
Rage.
a Rage Room?
Yes.
Sorry.
Rage room, and rage rooms are a thing. Rage rooms are a place where you can go and smash stuff safely and vent your anger. And when someone mentioned to me that they were going to a rage room, I'd been working on an idea for a novel, but the fact that there was this rage room idea, but then of course inevitably, like, it turned into a novel about time travel, because when you go into the rage room, it becomes a portal for time travel. Because I had the rage room and I was like, okay, well, that's interesting to a certain degree, but then what else am I going to do with it? And so naturally it morphed into time travel. So I'm like, so and yes, so Everything You Dream Is Real is a sequel, but it can be read as a standalone, because actually it's a completely different book. It does not have time travel. And I felt badly about the situation in which I had left my protagonist in the rage room. It was one that was perfectly befitting and deserving, but I felt I had unfinished business. And so that's why I decided to write You Dream Is Real, because I don't usually do sequels, even though there's some books where I'm like, I wonder what happened to that character. And readers will say to me, well, what happened next? And so, if I won the lottery, I would spend the rest of my life writing what happened next. But yeah, at the moment, I'm a little strapped for time.
Well, you definitely keep busy, and another project you
Yeah.
did was with the Sisters of Mayhem for their anthology coming out. Kind of our competition, but I think every reader should read both. Could you tell us about that story there?
Yeah, well, that's and the Madams of Mayhem, and actually, quite a few of the Madams are in the Cold Canadian Crime, which, as you can see, I've read extremely thoroughly, and read. I loved every single story in that. So I feel like that actually Cold Canadian Crime and In the Spirit of 13, which is what the Madams anthology would actually be an amazing stocking filler gift by the both of them, because they're actually very different and yet they're like highly compatible. And so I think, for like a snowy Christmas, if someone's sitting inside, I'd highly recommend both the anthologies, not because I'm in them, but because the range of stories, it's the breadth of stories. I mean, if like in this one, with like the continents that it traversed and the subject matter, it was just fabulous. So
Excellent. If anybody's watching this live or even soon, tomorrow night, September 29th, you'll be performing at Noir in the Bar in Toronto. Are you excited about Noir in the Bar returning and about reading
yes,
reading in public?
I'm ah extremely, yeah. Oh, completely. I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait for a number of reasons. I've really missed the in-person interactions so much. And I'll be seeing friends again. Noir at the Bar is such a great event. So there's so many reasons to completely look forward to it. It's going to be a fabulous evening. So for anybody who's listening, that is at the Duke of Kent, starting at 7 p.m. tomorrow night, and a couple of the madams will be there. Some crime writers of Canada will be there, and that's in Young and Eglinton. So hope to see a bunch of people. They'll be fantastic.
Excellent. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm on the other side of the country, so I can't see it, but I wish I was in Toronto. So thank you, Lisa, for this interview and also for your story, Somewhere Near Sudbury, which is
Well,
just one of the
yes.
stories for mystery lovers that can enjoy in cold Canadian crime. The book's available now at indigo.ca, amazon.ca, Barnes & Noble, and Apple Books. And you can find those links at crimewriterscanada.com. You can find out more information about Lisa's books at lisawriter.com. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you very much for having me as a guest today, Eric. And thank you for the Crime Writers of Canada for doing the anthology and for doing such a great job. I'm very, very honored to be a member.